Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. Happy to slay. All right. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. Maybe you got your workout in. I got mine in because one of the things that we do here in Slay Nation is we move our bodies. Okay. Because sometimes we have some thoughts in our head and we got to figure it out. And it is my way to get the day started. So as you come into the show, please let us know where you're streaming in from. Give us your name so I can give you a shout out because you decided you want to spend a little time with me this morning. And I truly, truly appreciate this. So here on the Rise and Slay Morning Show, we start out with the word slay. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that really resonate with me, and hopefully they resonate with you too. And that is stay ready, be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, sense of family, and knowing you are built to last. So I am a professional keynote speaker, a personal brand strategist, image consultant, author of several books. I got this talk show and I have the one on Sunday nights called The Slay to Success Talk Show. And y'all, I'm a proud United States Air Force veteran, and I spent 30 years in the Air Force, and so many of the people that I have a privilege to work with, partner with, are veterans, all right, or from the federal space. And so as you read the tagline on LinkedIn specifically, you'll see that some verbiage has changed because that's who I am serving. And guess what? In this season, okay, with a lot of things that are happening going on, people aren't necessarily taking what they were given after they served. All right. Sometimes we fall into jobs, roles, positions that no longer serve us. Like, I'm going to share with you the experience that one of my clients had shared with me and give you some insight and perspectives to how they shifted their mindset, because this is all of what I get to hear, but also to share with you all. So again, if you're here with me, please just let me know where you're streaming in from, and I'll give you a proper shout out for sure. So on our first session, I just have my clients just talk. We are just talking. We're just trying to figure out what is happening, what is going on in their life, because I retired in 2021 and I decided not to go into the federal or the government space. I decided to start a business, do things that I am very passionate about, and I wanted things to look forward to. I wanted to build a lifestyle that was much different than the lifestyle that I had, but it didn't just come overnight. Now, from my experience, it took about 6 to 9 months for me to kind of figure out, okay, here is the blueprint. All right. So I created one for myself, and now I use the same blueprint to help others. And y'all, my clients, they are out there. I don't even know half the time where they're at. They send me text messages, emails, they call me, and they share their good news of what they are doing to make a more meaningful impact in this world. And I just get the privilege of just being the cheerleader and the supporter and seeing how they are moving, because what this plan can do is to set you free. All right. And I know a lot of people who are walking around, they're like aimlessly trying to figure out what's my purpose, what's my path. And they are just starting from a point of desperation sometimes. And I don't want anyone in Slay Nation, okay, anyone who is hearing me, to be walking dead, because that's what my client told me. They were walking dead for years. All right, so I'm looking here on the Facebook side. Hey, my cousin Danielle is on the Facebook side. Hey, Danielle, and I will see you on next week at Thanksgiving. Okay, so she is streaming in from Indiana. So thank you so much, my beautiful queen, for tuning in. But when They were telling me that they served in the Navy for a number of years. There was a situation, because there's always some sort of situation that's happening, y'all. There is a significant situation that happens where it's very painful. So they were never able to really overcome some of the feelings and the angst and the anxiety and stress that they got from that situation. So then when they left, they got into a federal government job. Nothing wrong with that, but it was not in alignment with what they wanted to do for their life. And when he said that they were walking, dead for years, I was like, that's a whole sermon. That's a whole word right there. Because I know a lot of people, specifically veterans, that are walking dead. We had purpose when we were in the military. As toxic and unhealthy some of the environments were, there was purpose because there was a mission. And if you could just wrap your head around the mission, and for me, it was like my head was down, and it was even more down the last few years of my career, because I knew the importance of being in a leadership role, how hard and difficult it was, that I had to still continue on. And when I left from service, I was exhausted. I was mentally exhausted. I was tapped out. I could not make another decision if it was to save my life. And that's why I was walking around here in the neighborhood for 6 to 9 months trying to think about like what it is that I wanted to do in this next chapter. And as I was walking, I was making a list of things that I really wanted to do. Okay. And those things that I didn't want to do any longer. So when you are shifting, okay, from a structured environment where you are told what to do, the chain of command, the hierarchy, the path for which you should go, right? Whether or not people are telling you what to do with that, that there's some sort of instruction. So there's a standard. There's, all these, policies and so forth. So you can kind of point to something and figure it out, right? Well, when you transition, things start to look different. And for some of us, we have never found our footing. And in this particular case scenario with my client, they never found their footing until we partnered together. And everything that they are doing is so much different than where they were at before. Hey, Queen. Good morning, Petta. How you doing? It's good to see you too. You said, I'm thankful to have some time to join in today. I needed to hear this. You know what, Queen? I'm so glad that you showed up and you can take a little bit of time because I know there's a lot going on. All right. But thank you so much for being here, Queen. And yes, I'm going to give you some things to think about and to really kind of shift where we're at in our mindset about going from a structured environment. And again, thank you for your service, Queen. All right. Because we're not just leaving a job or a career. All right. We're leaving a lifestyle. We're leaving a culture. We're leaving a system, a rhythm, our tribe. These are the individuals or, the system of where we grew up in. I was in this system for 30 years. I pretty much had all of the insights about what I should be doing and how I should be doing and kind of what the outcomes are. Now, was it easy for me? Absolutely not. Okay. There were days I'd just be crying in my pillow because I was like, why do I have to deal with this? Why is this situation coming up again? Why do I feel like I don't belong in a system where you do have a group of individuals that you could see yourself working with? Hey, Cherise. Good morning to you on Facebook side. I see you, Queen. Thank you so much for showing up today here live. And thank you for your service too, Queen. So we now have to shift into who are we now, not what we were for everyone else in service, but who are we now? And most importantly, where do we want to see ourselves? I always go back to the 80th birthday. Okay. On my 80th birthday, if God gives me that number of years, I want people to say certain things about me and what I, not what I accomplished, but how did I make them feel? How did I go about inspiring and motivating people to get out of the rut? All right. We only got this one life. And yes, life could be hard. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of tragedy, if you will, that comes with life. And so, how are we pushing forward and making sure that what we were called to do, we are actually doing it? We are putting one foot in front of the next and we're moving forward. But we got to ask ourselves, who are we now and where are we trying to go? We're not starting over, y'all. We're just starting different. All right. Because the uniform in itself didn't make us powerful. We made ourselves powerful. Our presence in the uniform, we need to look to how that presence is going to look like in the civilian life. All right. That's the conversion that we need to walk ourselves through. All right. Because confidence doesn't automatically transfer. All right. Confidence doesn't automatically transfer. Confidence is a skill. So I have been putting out on LinkedIn, on Facebook about some of the conversations that I'm having with other women veterans. And, one of the women veterans that I met, she was like, I just felt small when you came into the room. And I just told her, girl, you got the confidence too. All right, it's in you. It's already inside. You just have to bring that out. And so that's what I help my clients to do. It's this experience of really figuring out who you are and where you're trying to go. And there's a step-by-step process to get you there easier, quicker, and faster. All right. None of this walking dead for years. None of this, I've been trying to figure this out for 10 plus years, and I've lost 10 plus years of my life, and I'm not quite sure. I'm telling you, all right, if you are a veteran, please listen to me, okay, loud and clear. Good morning, Shelly. I'm so glad you made it. Thank you so much for being here live with us this morning. All right, thank you so much, Queen. Okay, so, hopefully this is helping someone, all right, because confidence is not automatically transferred, but competence does. And what I mean is, we ran operations, we were leading teams, we were commanding chaos. All right. And we were keeping people alive. I know for a fact, many of the positions, and I had 5 AFSCs while I was in service. And AFSCs is the Air Force Specialty Codes, pretty much jobs that I got a number attached to it or numerical with some alphabetic letters in it. And I had 5. And each one called for a different type of leadership. And each one had its own issues and challenges. And having to navigate that. We all have done this. But suddenly, when we leave from the military and we go into the civilian world, the world makes us feel like we're not qualified. All right. This is nonsense. This is nonsense, but I continue to hear it. Many networking events that I go to, many conferences, summits, wherever I am, and especially in the military or the federal space, and people are feeling like they're not qualified. So the math is not mathing to me, because I'm like, if you've done all these things in service, what makes you think that you can't do that after you transition? Because the military service is hard. It's hard. Not everybody raises their hand voluntarily to do service and pretty much to say, I'm putting my life on the line and I'm willing to go to war. Okay. So this confidence that we're talking about, it starts to wobble But our abilities, they are still elite, y'all. And the moment we stop downplaying our experiences is the moment we start elevating our opportunities. Okay? I'm going to tell you now, I'm not chasing anything down. I am 53 years old. I don't need that type of energy. I chased down my promotions all the way to command chief for men, and I did that for years. I don't want to do that. So I had to back away from that. So our experiences, all right, that's when we understand what they are and what we did inside of that we start to elevate our opportunities. And our voice is a new weapon. All right. All my clients, and this one particular who spent years in the Navy and then went into federal position, they needed to find their voice again. For some odd reason, the situation that happened in the Navy trapped the voice. Went into the federal space, had other situations happen. Couldn't find it. So we're working through that because many of us were trained to be humble. We were trained to be quiet professionals. Don't outshine the boss or the commander or your supervisor or whoever that is, all right? Don't brag and don't self-promote. That's what we were told. Sit back. None of this, everyone needs to be the same, all right? Stop drawing attention to yourself. I remember one particular situation that still, because sometimes I can't remember everything that happened in service. But, there were some things that I really enjoyed doing while I was in service. And one of the things was, like going to the top threes or, any type of club or function where you're just learning more, right? Like professional development. I love that. So like all the John Maxwell courses, all of the like how more emotional intelligence, like that was my jam. And so I would just go to those type of things and I would volunteer. And I had one of my supervisors said, stop volunteering for these types of things. But you're going to start making a name for yourself out here. I was like, what? But, they didn't want me to, put myself out there because they didn't want me to grow and to be a better leader. They wanted me to stay the same at the same level that they were. So, but when you leave from the military, self-promotion is the new currency. This is why I help my clients to find their voice and to start to use it and to use it on platforms that they feel comfortable with, because all of this experience that we have should not be left for ourselves. We should be helping the next generation, all right? Because the next generation needs to understand there are a lot of things that they could do differently or that need to be aware of to help them. All right. This is not an us thing per se, but what kind of footprint are you going to be leaving in this world after you're gone? Okay. None of us are going to live forever. All right. They haven't created a cure or found a way for us to do that yet. Okay. So we don't just tell our story. Okay. We own it. We shape it. We weaponize it and we use it to open the doors. All right. I've gotten a slew of opportunities and I put it out there, especially on LinkedIn, so everybody can see. Not that I'm just like, okay, here's this and here's that and whatever, whatnot, but to show you that if I can do it, you can do it too. All right. So sometimes though, we feel like we're lonely. All right. Because loneliness is a real thing. I had a bunch of people around me when I retired. Had an executive assistant. Her name's Tiffany Cook. Absolutely SLAYMAZING. Me and her 2.5 years of just, helping each other to do the work that we needed to do. Commander, vice commander, secretaries, admin support. There was so many people that were part of the team. But when I retired and I transitioned, my phone stopped ringing. All right. We didn't know it. I didn't know anyone out here, and I didn't go into a job. And so we moved from South Dakota to Maryland. And I was like, I feel lonely. I'm not quite sure. AJ was at school. But then I realized over time that it was only temporary, because I didn't stay in that. Because once we leave this structured community for where we're coming from, it feels like we're being dropped into a new city without a map. And the moment we start connecting intentionally, all right, with veterans, other veterans, with professional women or men that you see in leadership circles, everything starts to shift. And that's exactly what my client did. All right. I introduced him to some of people that I knew. And I'm telling you, y'all, I'm not making any of this up. And everything shifted, because thriving isn't a solo sport. It's building a tribe of people that matches your next chapter, not your last one. In my last chapter, there was a lot of relationships that were transactional, meaning I had the position and the authority, and they wanted that piece. They didn't want to find out who Rochelle was. They didn't want to know how I was feeling. They didn't care about, like, what was going on with my family per se. All right. There was a lot of people who just wanted me because of my rank and my position. And so when that was, something that I had to deal with, I just had to realize I had to create a different type of circle. So my circle of friends, the people that I hang out, are positive, they're inspiring, they're encouraging, they're uplifting, and I want more of that. All right, because those are the things that are going to position you to the next. All right. All right. So just a few more things, y'all, and then I'll be out of your hair. All right. Some of us are feeling guilty when we evolve past who we are or who we were in uniform. I'm going to say this again. Some of us feel guilty because we have evolved past where we were in the uniform. It's almost like a betrayal. We just said, hey, thank you for the opportunity. I have no regrets of being in uniform. But I had to move past that and realize that I was destined for more, that I wanted to do more. I wanted to make more impact. I wanted to have things to look forward to. I wanted to get up in the morning and say, man, I can't wait to go and be on the Rise and Slay morning show with folks that understand and they get this. All right. These are the things that we can create for ourselves. So we didn't just serve 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years just to shrink in our second act. We did not. All right. We're allowed to want more. And I need you to give yourself permission to want more. We want more impact. We want more income. We want more freedom. We want more joy. And we earned that. We earned that. All right. Sharice over here on the Facebook side, she says, you are giving some major gems this morning. I love that. You know what, Queen? When you have an epiphany, okay, and it kind of like shifting, first of all, who you serve, because I realized over the past few years, the people that I'm actually serving are people of service. They've either been in the military or they've been in the federal space. And so they understand the structure, the environment, the identity, the transformations that we have to make being out of uniform. And it's a lot. And some of us, are trying to figure this thing out. So I want us to get from figuring it out to refining, right? This is all about refinement because it's our image. And y'all, I went and got my image consultant certification because I absolutely love to dress up to present myself in an executive presence, to be free of the way that I had to, button up in uniform and just to explore. And I know that a lot of people are trying to figure that out. All right. But we're not trying to do that. We're about refining our image. We're refining our mindset, our routines, our energy, our environment. Everything gets upgraded. Okay. Upgrade. Everything gets upgraded. No more are we settling for what we had to do while we were in uniform. Again, uniform in the military, it serves a purpose. All right. What is your purpose in this next? What is your path in this next? All right. And the sooner that you figure out what feels good, where you want to put yourself at, I can guarantee you all this mayhem and chaos and confusion that's going on, I'm not even paying attention because I know I've been called to do something bigger and greater in this next act. All right. Because once we refine how we show up, opportunities start flowing in. It's not magic, y'all. This is not magic. One, sprinkle a little pixie dust on you and off you go, right? This is all about alignment. Are you in alignment to what your life looks like right now, where you want to go? All right. Because the greatest thing that we can gain after service is our own definition of success. This is why I have Slay to Success. Okay. I have the word success in the name of my business because we are defining our own success in this next chapter. Okay. And the first time, okay, this is for the first time, you get to decide. People will make suggestions to you all day and every day. All right. They will tell you, hey, you should do this. You should do that. You should, walk like this. You should walk like that. You should talk like this. You should talk like that. You should write like this and you should write like that. And you should post like this and you should post like that. Right. And none of that ever feels good to you because it's not in your most authentic way. And when we break it down, and y'all, like, I am not messing around because these are people's livelihoods. And I'm just so invested in making sure that the people that I partner with, that they do it in their own unique way and they are making the decisions for themselves. And so we get to decide what pace we move at, what mission matters, who gets access to our energy, and what success even looks like for us. So that is what my client is doing right now. They got their perfect job. They're sitting on a board that is in alignment with their mission. They started a nonprofit. They are creating experiences for their audience. They have a podcast. They are, creating events. People are coming. People are wanting to find out more and more about what they do, what they're doing. It is a very rewarding feeling. Y'all don't even know. Like, I am just really proud that they decided not to stop and quit or stay into where they were in that mindset. Okay. Because when we start choosing with intention, we stop surviving. When we start making decisions and choosing with intention, we stop surviving and then we start thriving. And in our world, we start slaying it. Okay. We get it right. We nail it every single time. We know what we're supposed to be doing. We have purpose. We are making impact. We are no longer walking dead. We are here because we understand what we are here for. So transition will test you. Okay. Transition has tested me in so many ways. All right. But it also transforms us. It transforms us if you allow it. All right. Because we are not just adapting, We are determined to dominate this next chapter. All right. So the QR scan code that has been up here this whole entire time is my descriptions, if you will, of the experience for which all my clients go through. That, and each one of them have developed a blueprint for themselves, and they are out slaying all the things. They are squeezing whatever they can out of the life, but actually in service outside of the uniform. And it's something that they truly wanted to do. So I invite you, if you want a partner, hey, I'm your girl. Okay. I am a living testimony that these things are working. I'm not working in a job. Y'all have seen me out here. All right. I have created a whole new world for myself. And now I'm helping others to do the same. Shelley says, choosing with intention has been key for me. I really try to pare down the wants with how they align with my overall mission. That is new for me. Yes. You have to figure out what is the mission and how do you want to get there, right? And who do you want around you to get there? Our missions aren't for everybody. And as I say, the energy that I bring and the aura and the presence that I have, it's not for everybody. And there are some people who are just mad because you are out there helping, serving, giving in a way that's most authentic and true to you. And so they ain't going to celebrate you, queen. Okay. They just going to be like, how you get there? And I'm just like, well, if you invest a little bit on yourself and stop acting like, hey, I just don't like the world, because that's how some people are. Some people are so angry and upset about their service, and I understand and I get it completely, right? But I'm not going to allow my past to dictate the future. I'm just not doing that. I got too much more going on. Okay. Hey, queen, how you doing, Vita? I love that you are here. Thank you for being live here on the show. We are listen, I was getting it in. I've been on here for a little over 30 minutes now. On the Facebook side, Cherie says, I know this is off topic, but what is the magazine you're on the cover behind you? This is the magazine Black Hills Lifestyle. This is in South Dakota. And y'all, they did a whole spread on me. So when I got selected for the position, they came to my office and did an interview. And then we went out and took all these pictures. And this is me out in the field. This has got a whole write-up. And it's all about SLAY. So here's the thing, y'all. I had to take a look at this every now and again. I know that's kind of hard to see with the lighting and so forth. And remind myself who I am. Okay. I remind myself who I am and where I came from. That's why it's sitting up here, because sometimes we got to look at and read our own words. We don't be paying attention. All right. We get caught up in the moment very quickly, and we are not quite sure of what is going on. So I had to read this. They did this 5 things about Rochelle Hemingway. And even here, y'all, number 3, there's a whole thing, but number 3 is Rochelle describes herself as a girly girl who likes shiny things, glitter, sequins, and craft projects. I probably have a stock in Hobby Lobby. I go there almost every weekend. I get something to do. Shopping helps me decompress. I have to be disciplined when it comes to Amazon. All right. Rochelle enjoys decorating and scrapbooking. She's currently planning her retirement ceremony from the military, so she's working on decorations and gifts for that milestone event. Sometimes we just got to go back and we pick up a little thing. So I appreciate you asking what this magazine is about, Sharice. And then there's another one. So, because it just couldn't do the one, there was another magazine company that said, "Hey, we want to interview you too." And it's got the B1 behind it because that's what I was supporting this mission. How this medic got to be in Bomber World is another storyline. Okay, because that usually doesn't happen. But yeah, they did a whole full spread in here too. Even got Dominique and AJ in here, y'all. So even back then, and so I'm telling you, this has been years back. So this has got hashtag Slay, which I use all the time, and it's called Guts, Grace, and Glamour. That's what the title of all this is. It got pictures of AJ in there when he was younger, me and Dominique in uniform together. And it's just a beautiful thing that they featured me in these two magazines. But sometimes I have to just put them up here and remind myself who I am. Okay? Because people will tell you differently. And I'm not about to hear all that. I'm glad that you finally kept us live too, Queen. Okay? And Valerie, how you doing, Queen? Okay. She is tuning in from South Dakota. Me and her husband worked together every day while I was there. But me and Valerie had our debriefs, okay? Because had to debrief on all the things. And we lived in the little cul-de-sac. So I really appreciate you being here live. And you said yes to yes. And Cherie says, I love everything about you. I appreciate you, Queen. I appreciate you. I'm so glad that I'm here this morning and I was able to just give you all just a little taste of inspiration, maybe some motivation, but just a reminder of what we kind of spoke to based on my notes that I have here. We talked about how this identity shift, okay, is a real transition. We talked about how confidence doesn't automatically transfer, that our voice is our new weapon. Loneliness is real, but it's temporary. Reinvention of ourselves out of the uniform or out of these titles is not betrayal, it's elevation. And thriving isn't about figuring it all out, it's about refining. And last thing, the greatest thing that we can gain after our service is defining our own success. Okay. And that's how we're going to thrive in this next. And again, there's a QR scan code of how all my clients work through. All right. So that they can go out and not only start thriving, but start slaying. Okay. So I will be back here on Sunday night on the Slay to Success talk show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know Thanksgiving is coming up and all these holidays are starting to come together. So if I don't see you next week, which I won't, we will be traveling to Indiana for Thanksgiving. Please have a happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Okay. Eat all the good food, all the food that has the butter and the sugar. Okay. You're allowed to do all that. All right. But please make sure that you're moving your body. All right. Just get like a 30-minute workout in if you can so that you don't feel too guilty. Because that's going to be my strategy. I will be at Planet Fitness almost every day trying to just because my mom, she is such a great cook. So I'm like, I got to eat all the things. All right. Not if we're not moving like you. It's a skill, right? You have to develop these things over the years. So I enjoy working out. I do hard workouts, y'all. I like to challenge myself. Sometimes I get myself into a pretzel and I have to stretch. But I get back after the next day and go, okay, it'll be better tomorrow. But we've got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves in all the dimensions of wellness. So I do want to put a plug in for that too, because sometimes we lose oversight of that. So like all of the wellness categories, right? We've got the physical, emotional, social, and spiritual, but we also have intellectual, environmental, occupational, and financial. all of these different ways that we can show up in our best and favorite selves. We have to be looking at all those components. I was just taught in the military just to do the 4: physical, emotional, spiritual, and social. All this other stuff needs to be looked at too. Okay. And that's where we start to show up and glow up. Okay. So tell us again how you stay motivated with the workouts. Oh, okay. I got a little bit more time. My next is 9 till 11 o'clock. So yeah, let me talk about that. So Sharice also says, heading to my patio to do my workout now. I'm getting my routine started. Yes, Queen. Have a great workout. I love that for you. All right. You just show up better. It always works out right. Okay. How do I stay motivated with the workouts? I don't. So motivation is like a fleeting moment for me. I literally have to walk downstairs. Let me change my lighting, y'all. This lighting in here sometimes just starts darkening here. Okay, there we go. I literally have to get up and walk downstairs. It doesn't give me enough time to back out of it. Before, you could get up, you gotta like put your workout clothes on, get in your car, drive to the location, wherever you're going, get your workout in, drive back. And just thinking about it is just exhausting. You're just like, oh, I've had my mental workout. But for me, I wanted to make something very simple and where I'm just not even, sometimes I don't even know how I got downstairs. I just go downstairs. And I know when I get on the treadmill or if I get on the bike or I start lifting weights, my whole body mind connection changes because I'm like, I made it down here. At least I can start. I know the first 10 minutes are going to be hard. They always are. But after those first 10 minutes of me stretching and working out, and warming up, I just do it. And then it's just a routine. So, they said like to create a habit, it takes 21 days, right? For you to do it consistently. And, after some time, you kind of miss it. So that's kind of in my queue too. I have the Peloton app, y'all, and it shows like how many workouts you've done and how many you've had in a row. My strategy is just not to see any bubbles. Like I need to see all of them completed. At least I need to have done something. So if it's just yoga class, stretching class, outside of doing my cardio workouts, at least I got something in. And that's what we need to do. And then think about the return on investment. Before, I used to think about it as I've got to do my physical training test. I've got to run 1.5 miles. I got to do 1 minute of push-ups and 1 minute of sit-ups. All right. So that's what I used to train for every day, all day. Now I train for mobility. I train for heart health. I train for, prevention of energy, for, all the things that happen after you change or after you turn the age of 50. Some people say you just go downhill. I said, I want to continue to go up. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be spending all my time at the VA clinic. I ain't trying to be in here, in somebody's bed in here because I didn't do the things that I could prevent. So those are kind of things that we have to plug into our heads. Why are you working out? All right. What are you trying to do? What are your fitness goals? What are your health goals? And that's what keeps me motivated. I know it was like a long response and all, but sometimes these things need to be talked out. And I'm helping encourage you to stay motivated, but even though motivation is not really something that you could hold on to. It's discipline. It's discipline. You have to train yourself to do these things on a consistent basis. Because if you don't, I've had times where I've injured myself, and getting back to where I was is the hardest thing to do, that it almost stopped me from wanting to push past it or to figure it out. All right. Okay, so hopefully that helped. I'm out of here, y'all. I've got another thing here in a few minutes. So keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. Thank you so much for everyone being here with me this morning on the show. Peta, Shelly, Vita, Danielle, Sharice, Valerie. Thank you so much, Queens, for being here live with me this morning. And I will see you all very, very soon. Okay, Vita says, I have that too with the Apple Fitness. Didn't think about the return on investment aspect. I like that framing. Mobility and heart health. Do the things you can prevent. Train yourself to do the things you need to do. Yeah. You've got to make, this reframing is something that we have to recondition ourselves, because again, in the military or the federal space, they have, this is what you're supposed to be doing. All right. Follow this. These are the conditions of employment. All right. And then one of the things was fitness, but we've got to look at it much differently. Right. Do you want to be in the clinic every day? My answer is no. Okay. So I don't, and do you want to feel good? I'm not talking about eating right, because you do have to eat. You have to eat better, but I'm not saying you have to eat right all the time. All right. But we do want to make sure that we are minding our health. Okay. And if we are not good, all this stuff that I just been talking about is for naught. Okay. So yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, y'all. Hugs for you too, Cherie. Hugs and kisses. Love y'all. Have a SLAYMAZING week, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.